Sorry, I got distracted by the bass riff. So Fitz, big weekend. Official visits have started, and again, BlueWhiteIllustrated.com. His article, a link is in the description of the video if you want to go read everything he had to say about the official visit, feedback from all the players. I believe that came to campus. So Fitz, what do you want to highlight from that today on the show?
You're going to be very surprised by this, but a lot of visitors very impressed with Penn State and feeling good about Penn State coming out of the weekend. I mean, that's kind of how we talk about this weekend as the set the bar weekend. So Penn State, I think, jumped to the top of some lists this weekend. Now it's about holding on. Now it's about weathering the storm. Now it's about taking all those other visits and figuring things out. So the under hit for the weekend, I still think is going to hit over for the group that was on hand. But that's going to take a little bit of time. We started last week with Lex Cyrus. I'm going to start this week with Lex Cyrus. I still think that Penn State, really good spot for him. I think that everything just makes sense, but when you're in that position, you want to check out all of your options. South Carolina has come on strong there, but I think Penn State still in a good spot. I'm going to put in a pick if you pick or just go behind the curtain here. I'm going to put in a pick for Penn State because I think they're in a really good spot there. Beyond that, you've got some other receivers that were in town. Quincy Porter was obviously would he be the headliner? It's tough to say. There were a lot of really good players in this weekend.
Yeah, linebacker Ty Jackson, number one, the top overall player, but linebacker doesn't have the sexiness of a wide receiver who everyone wants to know more about. So yeah, lots of great players, right?
Yeah, it doesn't quite move the needle for all the offseason comments about the wide receivers. But Quincy Porter in this weekend, I have a tough time seeing him land at Penn State. But I have a much less tough time seeing him land at Penn State than I did 2 months ago. Like, this is a situation where Penn State has made up a lot of ground. Now, did it make up a lot of ground to pass Ohio State and Michigan? Heard a little bit more Michigan this weekend. I don't know. That's going to be tough. And that's one of those situations where you come out of the first weekend feeling pretty good about where you stand. And then it's like, hey, you got to circle the wagons. Your Bills did a very good job of that in the 90s. And defend against those other official visits. So Quincy Porter, I think Penn State made a heck of an effort this weekend. We're going to see where that stands. But obviously receiver, I think Marcus Hagan's made a very good impression on some guys this weekend. Moving on, a couple of D-backs were in. Brandon Finney, Grayson Littleton, I think both fits for Penn State in a couple different ways. Finney, obviously a McDonough kid. Grayson Littleton, a Kansas native, so he's not really a Florida recruit. I think Penn State did really well with those guys this weekend. And Antonio Branch,
he's interesting.
Little asterisks there, South Florida. Yeah, like that's what you've got. You've got a guy that I think Penn State is clearly the leader for in Antonio Branch.
How is that one? Because I know there's some other really high level safeties that Penn State has been interested in, and I know there's another one coming up this weekend that's going to be on campus, and all those numbers and how many you take, I think that also factors into this. But with Branch, who's kind of an unheralded, underrated guy, and Penn State's in the lead, how do you see this one? I guess what's the timeline for how this plays out? Is this somebody they are going to prioritize, or what are some of the nuances and nuggets you can get into here on the show that aren't giving away all the stuff at BlueWhiteIllustrated.com?
We can address the elephant in the room first, in that he is from South Florida. So you are playing with fire when you go into that, especially in June, because you've got a situation where you just saw, I mean, you landed a guy, you played him as a freshman, and all of a sudden he's at Alabama now. So not every kid is the same, but you're playing with the same area and kind of the same mindset with South Florida there. So if you take Antonio Branch, does it change much from your safety board? I mean, it probably, knocks you a little bit with Keno Winston and Jaden Blair, your top targets, because there's a safety, there's a guy with an S beside his name there on the commit list. But at the same time, I don't think it changes all that much in terms of your approach. Those are still very important targets for Penn State. Winston's going to be in for an official visit this weekend. Blair's not coming in until the end of the weekend. He's got a busy schedule. I think he's got 7 official visits or something this month.
Wow.
So this is a situation where I don't think it changes much if you take an Antonio Branch.
We got a lot of awesome things in the chat that I want to get to quickly. Fitz, anything you want to wrap up from official visits or from recruiting before we move on?
We're going to talk a little bit more about the camp on Thursday with Ryan. But yeah, I mean, I think the main thing to take away here is that Penn State did an excellent job this weekend. But that's just the start. That's just the tip of the iceberg when you're talking about June, because June is such a massive month. And I think that is why you use the code PSU1 and get into Blue White Illustrated, because there's a lot of stuff going on. I know Ryan has already established a guy that was camping this weekend, set up an official visit. That's a big deal. You remember Peter Gonzalez last year? That's exactly how it happened. So
yeah.
very important one there. So I definitely implore you to check us out on BlueWhiteIllustrated.com.
Yeah, I don't feel like I did the best job I could of this last camp because, followed Peter Gonzalez. We chronicled that really well. And then just the overwhelming number of players at that camp Fitz just good. They got on top of me. And we got some good video. You can check out at BlueWhiteIllustrated.com. But I was a little disappointed that I wasn't able to get more of those guys who were fighting for official visits. But we have, as Ryan and Fitz have covered these things, we have all the information there as well. I just like the show part of the show and tell. Hey, it's T. Frank. Did you enjoy that video? Hope you did. I can't get you another one. Actually, yes, I can. You can click on the link here in this part of the video to go to another Blue White Illustrated video. So if you liked it, subscribe here to the Blue White Illustrated YouTube channel. You can also do that by clicking on this interactive link that I'm pointing vaguely to. Super helpful. Also, if you want more from Blue White Illustrated, go to bluewhiteillustrated.com and use our special promo code that you're getting right here. Subscribe for 2 months. You get it for just $1 using promo code PSU1. That's promo code PSU1 over at bluewhiteillustrated.com. You can check out the link in the description of this video to go right there. I try to make it as easy as I can. I just can't click it for you. That's the only, I can't reach over and click the buttons for you. You got to do that part.